All right. Hi, Karen, Michaela. Thanks for being here and thanks for being on time. I'm going to start the class with you both. All right. How are you? How are you, Karen? Is everything okay?
Hi, teacher. Good evening. Hi, Micaela. I'm fine, thank you. And you, teacher?
Great. That's great to know, Karen. I'm fine as well. Thanks for asking. Good. So let's start working together, please. And also with you, Michaela, how do you feel today? Are you there? Is everything okay? Okay, let's continue. Perhaps, right, you're still joining, but we're going to start with the following. I'm going to cover first the lesson. It's going to be something quick because it's something that we, in a certain way, covered before. We are just going to reinforce this knowledge. We're going to practice a little bit, and then we are going to be having the debate I told you about. Okay, so before showing you the instructions and everything for the debate, let's cover this lesson because this is the last lesson for today. I think the four of you are here, so great. Let's finish that one again quick so that we have the time to work on the debates and try to practice our speaking skills. All right? Let's start then with future time clauses, the last lesson for this unit. Remember that the first quiz is going to be available today and you can finish it or take it until Sunday. All right, and also remember that today is the last day for you to complete the assignments for Unit 1. All right, and of course, that's going to be the same next week. We're going to work in the same way. But with that reminder, let's work with future clauses. First, I want to know here the main idea is not to learn about will or be going to, it's to connect clauses, to connect complete ideas, right, together with some words that can connect those two ideas, but talking about future. Okay, that's the topic about. But I want to remember a little bit with you, and I want you to remind me what you know about will and be going to. I'm going to start with you, please, Karen. Just talk about first a will. What do you remember about will, and when do you remember that you have to use will?
Yeah, well, we use will when we want to talk about the future, but it's um it's a future, but it's not like um certain. Maybe in one way, yes, but it's not completely certain that you will do this. I don't know, some action or something that you say.
All right, thank you, Kenny. We're going to complement the ideas, okay? I'm going to go with your partners and we're going to have a final conclusion. What do you say, Lucia? What can you add to that? Also with will. When do we use will? Karen commented something about it. I don't know if you agree with it or if you can say something different or any idea that comes to your mind, Lucia, please.
I'm agree um, with the explanation of Karen, but also I think for I don't know, maybe for Will I don't have more information, but for going to, like, we can add that it's something more when you have a certain plan. And yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, Lucia. Good. I'm going to keep working with your partners. All right, thank you. Michaela, what can you want to add to that? Again, they are saying that perhaps will is going to be used for situations that are not going to be that certain that they will happen, right? And that's opposite perhaps to what you have with be going to because it's going to be working with plans. So what do you say with that? Do you agree? And what else can you add to that information?
Well, I can add, we use will when it's like far future, and I'm going when it's like present and near future. Oh, well, I understand that.
All right, could be. If you say going, yes, can be because it's going to be continuous, right? But if you say going to be, it's kind of always future, right? Of course, it can be a near future, but perhaps you mean that, right? It can be near future or a distant future. So in that sense, yes, I think it can work in that way, Michaela. Thank you. And also with you, please, Nazarena, what else can you add? Again, they are talking about be going to and will. Do you agree with those ideas? What else can you say about it, Nazarena?
Hi, teacher. Yes, I agree with the ideas. We can use also will when we have some prediction. Maybe tomorrow will be warm or hot, maybe. And yes, I am better. I am agree with the ideas that my partner said.
Okay, thank you, Nazarena. Good. Now, let's try to remember then in this way. What you said, it's correct in a certain way, but remember that, no, actually it's correct. But just be careful when you say that a will is going to be for something uncertain. That is correct. In a certain way, it's correct. But it's not going to be accurate because when you say will, actually you have the intention for that to be 100% sure. Okay, so either you say be going to, or either you say will, it's always 100. Okay, but that's what you think. That's what you feel. All right, because remember, if you are not sure, you're not going to use will only. You're going to use will with other adverbs. For example, I will probably do it, or I will possibly do it. Right? In that case, yes, it's going to be like 90% or 95%, right? Or even less. And even if you are less sure than that, you're not going to say, I will probably, or I will possibly. You're going to say may, might, or could, right? I might go, I might go, I could go, right? So for possibilities, you have other models, or you have adverbs to conjugate that idea with, right? So possibly and probably. But if you only use will, and if you only use be going to, in a certain way, you're going to see the difference because I'm going to show you now once again, but you feel that it's 100% for sure that it's going to happen. The only difference is that with one of them, as you were saying, you have a plan, and with the other one, you don't have a plan. But it's a little bit more than that. Again, as it's not today's topic, girls, I'm not going to develop this in detail, but I'm going to show you this, and I'm going to encourage you to review that a little bit. And if I'm not wrong, they are going to be, just give me 1 second. I'm going to show you that presentation. And good, I believe, no, this is the same, right? In A9, I think we covered this also with you, girls. I think Karen and Lucia, if I'm not wrong, you covered this with me, future time clauses. So this is going to be a review. All right, but what I'm trying to find is the future presentation so that you have all the elements over there to remember that with me. Okay, here it is in A7. So let's have this into account, please. This is going to be very important. Before that, I'm going to ask you just one more question. For example, any of you can answer. If not, we're going to pick one randomly. If we want to talk about, for example, your age, right? For example, I'm 31, and let's say that my birthday is, I don't know, in December, right? And let's say on December the 10th, I don't know, right? So if I want to say that on that date, right, my age will change, right? There I'm using will, but what is the correct tense that I use there? Do I use will, or do I use be going to say my future age? Who knows that?
Be going to.
All right, we're going to see who else can make a comment on that. Thank you, Karen. What do you say, girls? Lucia, Micaela, or Nazarena? Yes.
Sorry, teacher, the difference?
No, what would you say? Imagine that, again, your birthday is very soon, and your age, of course, is going to change. What do you use in that case, Nazarena? Do you use will, or do you use be going to talk about the age that is going to be your age in a few months?
Will.
Okay, all right, thank you, Nazarena. So you have will and be going to. You were saying something, Lucia, sorry.
Yeah, I think will also, because maybe because your birthday or your age is something that naturally you're going to have, but maybe with going to is something that you have to plan. So
Okay.
it's not logic in my case to plan you're going to have 1 year more because it's something natural. But I don't know if it's good that.
Good. Great.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lucia. Yes, and actually, that's correct. It is going to be will, because as you said, and the logic that you're following, Karen, it's good because it has to be something planned. But again, to be 32 in my case is not my plan, right? It's not because I want to be 32 and I'm planning with life, right, that I'm going to be 32. No, it's that naturally, right? It's a future fact that it will happen. And when it's something that naturally happens, as Lucia was saying, we have to use will. Okay, that's why, as I was saying, it's not that will is something uncertain. Sometimes it's going to be totally the opposite. For example, in this case, for all future facts without exceptions, you have to use will. And what is a future fact? As Lucia explained very well, is something that you don't have a control over with. Okay, you simply do that, or you simply experience that because that's how life is, right? Your age, the effects of medicine, how the sun, right, or how the universe works, right? How your body works, right? Anything that you don't control is going to be with will, right? But if you have a plan with someone, it's always going to be going to. All right. So those are the two most important usages, but also prediction. Yes, Lucia, I think you have.
Yeah, Professor, I have a question here, but also we can use, for example, when we have a plan, I don't know, for example, a trip, we can use will for a plan that we make and made by us. We can use also will.
It's not incorrect to use it, but imagine if you're going to have a test that it's going to evaluate grammar, it is not going to be that correct. Okay, it's going to be logic, but it's not the best option. If it's a plan and you have the tickets and you have like already agreed that with your friends, let's say, it has to be going to. Okay, it has to be going to. Will, again, it's not going to be incorrect like in Spanish, right? In Spanish, we use will and be going to in many, many ways, right? It's not incorrect, but the best option is be going to. Also, besides that, Lucia, and for all of you girls, remember that it works for predictions, right? Will is for predictions, and this is kind of contradictory because this time for predictions, will is only based on opinion, right? But be going to is based on evidence. Okay, so that's also kind of paradoxical because will works with future facts, but also works with predictions on opinions. And be going to works with plans and also works with predictions with evidence. Okay, those are the four that you have to remember. Future facts and predictions based on opinion, will, and plans and predictions based on evidence, be going to. Okay, just remember those four and you're going to be okay. And again, not all the tests evaluate grammar. For example, the TOEFL is not going to have like a section dedicated to grammar. But of course, it is going to evaluate your grammar implicitly in your speaking sections and in your writing sections, right? So you need to be able to use these ideas correctly. Okay, so that's the only thing I want you to remember. We're just going to read the definitions before we go to our presentation. Let's read this with you, please, Karen. Simple future.
Use will to talk about prediction based on opinions, future facts, offers, promises, and decisions made at the moment of the speaking.
Great. Thank you very much, Karen. Also, the last one is very important, right? So in your question, for example, Lucia, if it's a plan, it has to be going to. But imagine that you decided to have a plan at that moment. So if the context shows you that the decision was made at that exact moment, you can use will, because it was not a plan before. It's something that you just decided. Okay, so only when the decision was made at that moment, it can be used with will. All right, but again, the context has to clarify that. If the context doesn't clarify that and it's a plan, the best option is only be going to. All right, that's one. Then here are some examples. You can take a look at them. Okay, we're not going to read them, but you have them, one with decision at the moment of speaking, with prediction based on opinion, future facts, and promise. And now be going to, only in 2 cases. And this is for you, please, Michaela. Let's read this slide.
Future with be going to. Use be going to talk about prediction based on evidence, sometimes we can see or hear, and plans a decision before the moment of speaking.
Great, thank you, Michaela. And remember, please, that both of them are only going to be about future. None of them are going to be about present. They can be about near future, but near future is not present, right? It can be, for example, in 5 minutes, but 5 minutes is still future. Okay, of course, it's a very close and near future, but it's still future, right? And it depends also on what you're going to say. If you say, okay, I'll do it, and you decided that at that moment, you say, I will do it, and it will be in 5 minutes. Okay, I will help you now in 1 minute. Okay, but it's future. But if you say, sorry, I cannot because I'm going to see someone in 5 minutes, it's still future, right? So it doesn't matter if it's 1 minute or 5 minutes. If you're using will or be going to, it's still future, but you have to decide which one you're going to use based on the context, right? And following these ideas. If it's a prediction based on evidence or a plan, be going to. If it's a prediction based on opinion, a decision made at the moment, it's a future fact, an offer, or it's a promise, it's going to be with will. Okay, so that's it on my side. Again, the main topic here is not this, but it's important that you can remember that so that you can use the best conjugation. So let me know, please, if you have any questions before going to the presentation itself. Okay, let's go over there then. Future time clauses. And this is going to be easier because even here, you don't need to really analyze which one is the best option. You only need to connect the ideas. And the definition is going to be for you, please, Nazarena.
Okay, definition. Future time clauses are dependent clauses that must be joined to independent main clauses. It is customary to use the future in the independent clause and the present tense in the dependent time clause. Do not use the future in the time clause.
Great, thank you, Nazarena. Now, this is something, again, that we covered. Perhaps even you already practiced this because I imagine that some of you were working with Pearson already. So before going to the examples, who can give me one example of a time clause, also of a future time clause? Anything that comes to your mind. What do you say?
Like tomorrow or next year, maybe.
Okay, yes, but that's going to be more like, or it's going to work more as a future time expression, right? Which is good. But in future time clauses, we actually need 2 complete ideas in future joined by a word that is going to connect those 2 future ideas. And again, even though those are future ideas, they can be in different tenses, but it has to be related to future. So what do you say? Let's also work with you, please, Karen. What comes to your mind? How can you join 2 ideas to have a future time clause?
Maybe when we use, I don't know, when or.
That's correct. When is one example of the word that you use to join the 2 clauses? So what idea can you give me? Remember that one of them actually is in future and the other one is going to be in a different tense, but both of them give a future idea. So what do you say?
One of the tenses must be in other tense that not future.
Correct. Because if that tense is in future, it's going to be incorrect, right? Unless you're using a different word, but with when, one of them is going to be in a different tense that is not future, and you have to use one specific tense, but I'm not going to mention that yet. What tense do you think it is? Karen, what idea can you imagine using a future idea with when in the middle or at the beginning? I need related like in the sense of a condition sometimes.
I will take a break when I finish my homework.
Correct. Exactly. Good. And what tense are you using in the second part, Karen? It's correct. What you did is correct.
Well, simple present.
Correct. And if you say just present, it's more than enough. Yes, present, simple present. Correct. That's what you usually do. All right. In future time clauses, one of them is in a future tense, and the other one is going to be very likely in present. It can be simple present or even sometimes the present continuous. But the simple present is the one that works every time. Okay, good. So with that said, let's go to the first set of examples. And this is what I was telling you. If you use future in both clauses, it's going to be incorrect. Let's read these examples with you, please, Lucia.
When the movie ends, I will go to bed. And teacher, also the comma, it's necessary, right?
Yes, here it's obligatory. When it's at the beginning, it is. When it's in the middle or any other expression, it's not. Actually, you don't have to use it.
All right. When the movie, I will go to bed, incorrect. So the second is I will feel more relaxed after I finish my project. Correct. I will feel more relaxed after I will finish my project. Incorrect.
Great. Thank you very much, Lucia. So this is what we were saying, right? If you want to use a future time clause correctly, you have to use one word that is going to connect your two ideas. The most of the times, if I'm not say all okay or every single time, it's going to be next to the when clause or to the after clause or to the while clause. And then you have the future. But usually this is going to be the normal quotation marks order, right? Future plus the word, okay, plus the, let's say, present tense idea. And that's always going to be correct. Okay, so when can be at the beginning, after can be at the beginning with the simple present, with a comma and future, or it's going to be future plus when or after or before or all the words that we can use and the simple present. Okay, one more time. If you use future in both clauses, it's going to be incorrect. Okay, that's the first part. We're learning about the basics. The main thing, again, take a look at those tenses. Now, these are some words, and you're going to try to actually start practicing with me. Remember, the word that goes next to when, before, after is usually going to be a simple present. But if you analyze, while works better with continuous tenses. So in the case of while, you can use the present continuous. Okay, so here this is going to be, let's say, one, not exception because it's also present, but you have the chance of using a continuous tense with while. With the rest of them, simple present. Okay, all of them simple present, because with the rest of them, the continuous tense is going to sound a little bit weird. But let's work with this, please. Both of you are going to work with two examples now. Yes, Lucia, you have a question.
Yeah, sorry, Professor. So for a while we can use in present continuous or in present.
Yes, it can also be simple present, but it's going to be more natural with while if you use the present continuous.
And with a perfect continuous, perfect present continuous.
In using future, actually,
Not per
sometimes,
se, no, because
yes,
it's more past, a kind of past.
exactly. Sometimes there's a possibility, but you're going to take a look at that perhaps later on. I'm not sure if it's going to be in the next course, but there's one clause in which you can mix future and present perfect in the sense of when something is done, you will do something. Okay, so for example, right, I can or I will, right, I will send the presentation once the class is over. That's present, right? But you can say once we've finished the class. Okay, so also there with once, I can use once over here. Once you can use it with the present perfect, but it's again one of the exceptions. The most common way, Lucy, it's going to be with the simple present. All right, good. Let's take a look at that then, please. Remember, all of them are going to be with future plus when plus before, after, as soon as, until plus simple present, except for while. That is better if it's future plus while and present continuous. All right, so let's try to work. I'm going to start with you, Micaela. Let's start with you. The first example using when, please. And I'm going to give you one more time one example. It can be, I will travel to the US when I finish studying my career or my major. Okay, that's one example. What example can you give me with when?
Okay. I am going to do the inventory when the warehouse is open.
Okay. All right. Yes, that's valid. That's valid. It's a person ID after that. Yes. One more, please, Micaela. But this time you're going to use, let's say, after. Okay, after. And again,
Okay.
Eliza, it's the same logic.
Okay. They will get their bonuses after we check in system.
Check the system. Good. Just one question. The verb was not very clear to me. What was the first verb that you used in the first clause?
Will get their bonuses.
Okay, good. Yes, right. Then the workers, I don't know, the employees will get their bonuses right after we. And you said something with the system. What was the verb over there also, Micaela?
We check. Is okay.
Okay, yes. What do you mean with check? When you say check, right, is like you are revising that everything is working good with the system, and after that you can pay them right what they want. Is that what you want to say, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, good, great. Then it's okay. Thank you very much, Micaela.
Okay,
Good.
thank you.
I'm going with you now, Nazarena. The same, but with you, you're going to start this time. Let me delete this one. Let's start with before, please. And again, the logic, it's the same. It's going to be something that you will do before you do something.
Okay, teacher. I will finish my work before go to vacations.
Good. In that one, you have two options. If you don't want to use a complete idea after before, you have to use a phrase. And a phrase is going to be an activity or a noun. It means that you cannot use go you have to use going, for example, okay, in the gerund form.
Okay.
So one more time, how would it be in that case?
Okay.
And it can be the same example. Give me the same example,
I
just
will go
without changing the
to.
last one.
Okay. I don't remember. I will go to vacations before I am with. I don't remember, teacher. Was like I will go to vacations before ends my work, but I
Okay,
don't remember where is the gerund. Was like
good.
before
Actually, in that part,
before
yes.
going I think that was in the reverse. Sorry.
How would it be in that case? Try to
Okay.
formulate it one more time, please.
Okay. I will finish my work before going to vacations.
Okay, good, exactly.
Okay.
I will finish my
Sorry,
work
I was not
before going. Don't worry, but that's the idea, all right? That's one option, Nazarena. But here to practice with two complete ideas, instead of before going on vacations, all right, it's better if you say on. Before going on vacations, you can use a complete idea and you can say before I go on vacations or before I take some vacations or some days off. Okay, so you have those two options. And in the second part, it's interesting if you use a complete idea, but you have the option of using gerund after before, because remember, this is going to be like a preposition. So after prepositions, the verb is always going to be with ing. All right,
okay.
because it's going to be an activity. Okay, good. That's one. One more, please. And we're going to use this time as soon as. It's the same logic.
Okay. As soon as finish my work, I will travel.
Good. And remember, I couldn't hear the subject. You have to use a subject over there.
As soon as to finish, as
No,
soon as I finish
good.
my work, I will travel.
Exactly, right? And you use a comma, right? Good. You can use this at the beginning. As soon as I finish, right, working or with my work, comma, I will travel or I will do something. Okay, so that's it, Nazarena. Thank you. Yes, Lucia, let me know, please, your question.
Sorry, Professor, could you repeat, please, the explanation for before?
Yes, if you have
Just for
prepositions, yes, give me 1 second. I listened to that one more time. Yes, the explanation for before works because after and before actually works with these two words, Lucia, before and after, because they are prepositions. Okay. With prepositions, you can have, with these two prepositions, you can have complete ideas after them, or you can have a phrase. Okay, or you can have a phrase. A phrase, remember that it's an incomplete sentence. What does it mean? It means that it doesn't have a subject or it doesn't have a verb. Okay, it means that it can be a noun or it can be an activity. So in other words, you can say that you will do something before you do something else, complete idea, or you can say that you will do something before doing something else. And if you decide to omit the subject, Lucia, it means that you're talking about the same subject or you're mentioning something general because you don't want to mention who has to do that action. Okay, so in those cases, you can omit the subject, but only in these two cases because they are prepositions and you can use the gerund after them. Okay, but one more time, if you don't use the subject, then we are going to suppose that you're talking about the same subject that you mentioned before, or that it's not important, or that it's very general, so that we need to pay attention to the subject itself. All right. Also, if you analyze, perhaps with while can work that one, while doing something. All right. But again, if you omit the subject, it means that it's the same subject, or it's the general idea that doesn't need to mention who is performing the action. All right. I don't know if you have any more questions or you
Yes,
have
Professor.
doubts.
But for example, if you use the subject, it's not necessary to, of course, use ing. It's like the same structure, right?
Exactly. And actually, if you say the subject in ing, it's going to be incorrect, right? So if you decide to use the subject, it has to be in the simple tense. But if you want to use ing, then you're going to use the present continuous with the verb to be, right? Subject, verb to be, and continuous. But in some of them, it's going to be a little bit weird. So that's why only when you omit the subject, as you said. Okay, good. Thank you. Great. So, and actually, yes, with you, we're going to be working with you now, Lucia. Let's try to work with while. Remember, it's going to be the same future, but with while, you're going to be working with the present continuous. So what idea can you give me with while?
While I am writing the paper, I will search new sources.
Okay, good. Yes, that's valid. Again, right? It's going to be one option, while it's not going to be like the one that is going to be most often used, but it's correct. So you will search, right, new sources while you are doing something else. Good. What about until? Until, it's a little bit different in meaning. The usage is the same, right? Future until present, but it means that the first activity will stop when the second starts in a certain way. So what comes to your mind with until?
Until I find new offers, I will buy the official tickets.
Okay, good, great, that's perfect. Something that you will do just until something else happens, right? So there you go. Thank you, Lucia, that's correct. And let's finish up with you, please, Karen. And with you, we used all of them already, but we're going to use please before one more time and as soon as one more time. So what comes to your mind, Karen?
Okay, I will clean my house before I take a shower. And
very good.
I will finish my assignments as soon as the class finish.
Good. And in that one, remember, as it's going to be only the class, it's going to be third person, so finishes. Right? Good. Very perfect. Thank you, Karen. That was correct. Good. There you go. So to me, again, and actually that's the most important part. But let's take a look at some important elements to complement this before going to the debate. Remember that today we're going to have a short debate because this is going to be like very short, as you're going to see. Actually, that's the topic. Now we're just going to reinforce it with some extra elements. For example, the structure. Let's read the structure with you, please, Michaela.
Okay, for structure, we use the present tense to talk about future time clause. The future tense is used in the main clause. The present simple tense is used in the time clause. Future tense, main clause, plus when, after, before, as soon as, until, plus present tense, time clause. I will travel to Europe when I finish my career.
Thank you very much, Michaela. Let's repeat only these words, please. Remember, clause, it's great. But if this is plural, how do you read this word one more time?
Closes.
Clauses, correct. And this one more time, please. I felt the TR a little bit weird. How do you read this word one more time?
I will travel.
Travel. Yes, great, great. It was just a little detail. Thank you, Michaela.
Okay.
Good. So easy, right? This is the future tense, or yes, this is the future tense. This is the main clause. Then you have any of those words, right? When, after, before, as soon as, until. And then you have the present tense. And that's it. That's a future time clause. Okay, a future time clause then is going to be composed of two main clauses. The main clause that it's going to be in future and the time clause that it's going to be in present. And they are going to be joined by many possibilities, and these are some of those possibilities. When, after, before, as soon as, until. Okay, we already practiced this. This is just to reinforce again. Let's read some of the examples to keep reinforcing this knowledge. Nazarena, this is for you, please, the examples.
Okay. Examples: Tom will turn off the lights when he leaves the office, not when he will leave. Lourdes and Melissa are going to study for the test while you are practicing, not while you will practice. They will do the shopping before we arrive, not before we will arrive.
Great. Thank you, Nazarena. Right, as you can see here, this is what I told you. The only one that it's going to be with present continuous is while. But you can also use the simple present, as Lucia asked, but it's more natural if you mix the while clause with present continuous. Right? Good. Here we have some more example. This is going to be for you, please, Karen. Let's read these examples, please.
Okay, she will go running after it stops raining, not after it will stop raining. The nurse will wait until the ambulance arrives, not until the ambulance will arrive. The operation will begin as soon as the patient is ready, not as soon as the patient will be ready.
Great. Thank you, Karen. These two words, please, is going to be very important. And again, these are just details because they were very well pronounced. But read the two words one more time, please. How do you read the two words one more time, Karen? And paying attention to the U. Sorry, here, this is the vowel. So how do you read them one more time?
Running.
Good. And this one?
Ambulance.
Correct, exactly. So you read it right, only like U in both cases. But this has to be like and this is going to be like EU, right? Good. Running and ambulance. Great. Very good. Thank you, Karen. And here you go. All right. Those are the examples. And one more time. Every example, if you paid attention, is with the simple present after the words that you use to join the two clauses, except for while. That's again the exception that we got. All right. Now, we have more words, and this is going to be the last practice for this lesson, girls. And it's going to be a short practice related to writing because you're only going to write some examples. You use these words exactly, all right, in the same way that you used when, after, before, and all those words. Okay, exactly the same. After once, you're going to use simple present. As I was saying to Lucia, with some of these words, you're also going to be able to use sometimes the present perfect, but we're not going to be practicing that now, okay? Only in the simple present tense. So something will happen once something happens. Something will happen immediately after, immediately something happens. All right, and it's going to be directly like that. You're not going to use any other preposition, just the words that you have here. The moment, the minute, the day, by the time. And it's going to be like this. Let's read, please, these examples with you, Lucia, and we go to practice.
All right. Tony will call the restaurant the moment he gets home. The moment he gets home. All right?
Yes, please, all of them.
I will contact you once I receive an estimate. You will be notified the minute your order arrives. It will be dark by the time we arrive home.
Perfect. Thank you, Lucia. This is what you're going to do. And again, after this, we start with our debate. This is our last activity. So it's the same document, please. You're going to write examples. I'm going to give you the instructions now, but you're going to do it in this way, please, so that I can see that you are writing the examples following the logic that we have to understand. So the first part, you know that it has to be future, right? So one more time. I will write complete the tasks. Then you use one of these expressions. Remember, you're going to use one of these once immediately, the moment, the minute, the day, by the time. So I'm going to use by the time. Okay, by the time, this is going to be like this, please, with bold letter. And then you have a simple present idea, right? By the time, the boss sends me the report, let's say. Okay, I'm going to pretend that people has to send me the report. And try to work on that with underlined, okay? Try to do it in this way, please, girls, so that I can see that you're using the correct connector, that you're using that one. And also remember that you can work this in two ways. So that's also something I'm going to ask you. You can use by the time, but if you use by the time at the beginning, you need to use a comma, and then you use the future clause and period. Okay, so this is what you're going to do, please. You have to show me what the connector is, and you need to try to remark the present or the future tense using the correct punctuation. Okay, so following, please, this format, I'm going to make this bigger. Following this format, following this way of identifying the parts, we're going to write, please, a total of 4 sentences, okay, using these expressions, only these: once, immediately, the moment, the minute, the day, by the time. Okay, so 4 examples using these words. 2 of them are going to be with normal order. It means with these words in the middle. And 2 of them are going to be with inversion. It means these words are at the beginning with present, and you use a comma, and then the future idea, right? And it will be, one more time, like this. Okay, two examples with this format and with this order, and 2 examples with this format and this order. Okay, that's it. If you have any questions, please let me know. I'm just going to leave you with the words over there because you have the structure in the file already. Do you have any questions? Let me know, please.
Professor, it's just a short question. Is these future expressions and these sentences, independent sentences, and that we have already advanced, we use that more with will, right? We can use also with going to.
Yes, actually, it's your decision, because if you, after once, you give like a very specific information about a plan that you have, actually be going to is going to work perfectly.
Perfect. Okay.
Okay, so if you feel that it's a plan, use be going to. If you're only saying a future idea, it's a general future idea, yes, will is going to be more than enough.
Okay, thank you.
Good. Oh, you're welcome. Yes, Karen, I think you have a question as well. No? Okay. Let's do it, please. We're going to have, for the 4 ideas, let's have 5 minutes. If you finish before, let me know. But please, 5 minutes to write the 4 ideas. We check in 2 minutes, please. Okay, so it's over the 5 minutes. Let's take a look, please, at your examples to finish this lesson, right? You're finishing the last ideas, perhaps. Try to work on that one. And we take a look at them. Okay, I think some of you have that ready. So let me start with you, please. This is yours, Lucia. Let's read your examples, please, Lucia.
All right. I will adopt a new dog once I will move to a new home. You will add the tomatoes. Immediately, you will cook the pasta. The moment she writes the letter, she will research new topics. The day I start practicing gymnastics, I will have more strength and flexibility.
Thank you very much, Lucia. So let's take a look at what's happening here in the beginning. And this word, because it's going to be very special, and I believe something is going to be missing here. But remember the rule that to have future clauses, we only have the future time clause in future, and we have the time clause in present, right? Remember that if you use future in the time clause, right, it's going to be incorrect. Don't worry. So here it's going to be I move, and then immediately you cook over there. Now, this is what I was telling you, and perhaps you noticed also that, girls, that this word is usually worked with some extra words, and perhaps is the only one. Not at the moment, for example, some people say at the moment or on the day, but this one needs one. Could be immediately after or immediately before, but usually immediately after is going to be the one that is going to be correct. Okay, so that's something that is not mentioned over there, girls, but it's good that you have that one. So here you have immediately when, or the best option also could be immediately after you do something. Okay, so after or when, and that's something we didn't mention, but that's it on my side. It's Lucia. I don't know if you have any questions, because with that we're finishing reviewing this lesson. So what do you say?
Yeah, teacher, but I just have a question. It's good to say I moved to, or directly I knew. I can't hear you well.
Where is that part? I want to verify.
The first sentence.
Yes. Can you hear me now? Yes, no, you have to say that you moved to a place, you moved to a
A new
city.
place.
It has to be with to. Exactly.
Okay.
It has to be with to. If you don't use to actually there, it's not going to be correct. It has to be moving to a certain place.
And teacher, for the second, for immediately, always is with after or when, or is it depends of the context.
It depends on the context, but most of the times it's going to be like that. If you think of other possibilities, um, yes, actually, I'm thinking of possibilities, and all of the ideas that come to my mind are related to after and when. There are other possibilities, but I'm not remembering the other prepositions or expressions that you use. The most commons are related to after and when. If I get to remember, or I'm going to check that information one more time, Lucia, I'm going to let you know the other possibilities. But the ones that I now have in my mind are only these two. All right.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, good. No, you're welcome. Thank you very much for asking. I'm going now to work with you, please. This is yours, Nazarena. Let's read your ideas, please.
Okay, teacher. First, I will go to bed immediately after the English class finishes. 2, my family is going to vacation once my brother graduates. 3, the moment she lives in Europe, we will visit her. 4, by the time the coach arrives, we will finish the game.
Okay. Thank you very much, Nazarena. So some details over here. Remember that actually the present continuous can also be future. So this is not going to be incorrect. All right, but I'm going to give you the two options. If you want to use the present continuous as future, then you're going to use directly the preposition that you need here. That is going to be on vacation. Okay, because if you say only to vacation, it's not going to be that good, because vacation can sometimes be used as verbs, but not frequently. But the other option, Nazarena, is that you can use the be going to, and to use be going to, you need another verb first. Okay, so it's going to be like this. You can say my family is going on vacation once my brother graduates, which is correct. Or my brother is going to go on vacation once my brother graduates, which is going to be better, because this is going to be a real future. The other one is future, but only because of the context. All right, that one. I believe that that's my only observation over there. Everything is working good. Here you have you. We will visit. We'll finish. That's it. I don't know if you have any questions, Nazarena, about any details.
No, teacher, all is fine. The only doubt that I have had was with the moment. That sounds a little strange because said the moment she lives in Europe, we will visit her, but it's fine.
Yes, it sounds weird, but in this case, grammatically speaking, it is correct. It's just like saying when. The moment is replacing when. So you don't need any other preposition. It sounds weird, but it is correct, Nazarena. All right?
Okay, thank you,
Good.
teacher.
No, thank you. Good. This is yours, Micaela. Let's read, please, your examples.
Okay, and 1, by the time she receives the materials, Pedro is going to be in the hotel. 2, once we get the budget, we will announce the plans. 3, I will study a new career the day I finish my master's degree. And 4, he will go to the warehouse immediately. He can get approval, but I think should be he will go to the warehouse immediately after he get approval.
Yes, correct. Here, this can have a different meaning, right? And this is perhaps the other way, Lucia, that you were asking, because immediately can be related to a consequence, right? But here we're not using immediately as a consequence. We're using immediately as a connector between a future clause. So for example, it can be also with a different punctuation. For example, you can say, he will go to the warehouse, comma, right? Immediately after that, he can get the approval. But the meaning is different, right? So as here, we're not using this as a consequence. It's only a connector. What you said is correct, Micaela. And here, you're going to delete that one. And you use the third person, right? So it's going to be immediately after he gets the approval. Okay, and even you can use the to emphasize that you're talking one specific type of approval. Let's read number 4 one more time, please, Michaela, to practice that one.
Okay, he will go to the warehouse immediately after he gets the approval.
Exactly. Very good. Thank you very much, Michaela. Now, you're going to tell me, and you're going to use perhaps one example, but first, before going there, let's read yours, please, Karen.
The moment my mother comes home, I will go out with my friends. Once I finish reading my book, I will start with another that my brother gives me. I will play the guitar immediately. In this case, it's when, the word that I need to use.
In both cases, actually, both can work, immediately when, immediately after. But here, again, if you say this, my father comes with it, I don't get the idea. What do you mean with it?
The guitar?
Okay, and you mean comes to your... Yes, it's weird because you say, if you say with the guitar, right, my father comes with the guitar, right? But in what way? Because in that way, we're going to decide which one is better. But remember that here, once again, immediately is working. Imagine that you can replace immediately with when. Okay, with when. So if you replace immediately with when, and it makes sense, then your clause is correct. Okay, but if it doesn't make sense, then it's going to be incorrect. All right, so if you say, for example, I will play the guitar when my father comes with it, it's going to work good. So I think it's working great. So it means that here you can add two possibilities, Karen, because the meaning is going to be the same in both cases, after and when. Okay, and now I understand, I believe, because your father is going to bring the guitar, right, so that you can play it. So good. I will play the guitar immediately after or immediately when my father comes with it. And in this case, as you're using immediately, Karen, both of these words are going to have the same interpretation. Okay, so you can see immediately after and when, and it's going to be exactly the same. All right, just that one. I believe that everything is working great. Did you read the last one? I didn't.
No, he will sing at the school concert the minute the band finishes playing.
Very good. Great. Again, it's working good. This was my mistake for not giving you the extra elements for immediately, but it's working great in the way that you all did it. So that's it on my side. Karen, I don't know if you have any questions before finishing. This is the last thing we're covering.
Not
yes. Okay, good. Thank you. Now, this is what I was telling you. To see that one, actually, to take advantage of the time, because I really want you to have that debate. We're going to work on that one. If we have the time after the debate, I'm going to give you one extra example immediately. But please, let's work with the debate first, because again, it's going to be really interesting that you work on this. You have a lot of instructions, but it's going to be very simple. It's just so that everything is clear. To read the instructions, please, all of you are going to help me out. The first part is going to be for you, please. Karen, actually, let's read this part, please.
Okay, the groups will have debates on the following questions. Should there be a restriction on how many children a family can have? Should medical marijuana, I don't know how to read this word,
Yes, it's correct.
Okay, legalize. Should a school replace teacher with a technology, should parents be allowed to microchip their children? Randomly, one or the other group will have to go for or against that idea.
Very good. Just these two words, please, Karen. This is going to be like E, so it's going to be legalized.
Legalized.
Good. And read this one more time, please. How do you read this acronym?
E.
AI, right? AI.
Okay.
Good, right? This is artificial intelligence, right? AI, artificial intelligence technology. Good, so we are going to choose now one of these questions, but first we're going to divide the groups, and you are going to look for information to be for this or against this. All right, it's going to be as simple as that. And you're going to have time to do some research. Of course, not a lot of time, so I know it's not going to be like the best preparation, but the idea there is that with what you have to be able to defend or to go against that idea. But let's read more about it so that you understand even better. We're going to continue with you, please, Lucia, and let's read this part, please.
Okay. If your group is for look for ideas to support an affirmative answer to that question, do some research. Organize your group so that each of you can mention interesting ideas. Be ready to defend your ideas. If your group is against, look for ideas to support a negative answer to that question. Do some research. Organize your group so that each of you can mention interesting ideas. Be ready to defend your ideas.
Okay, thank you very much. Lucia, good. It's repetitive, right? Because all of you have to do the same. The only difference, if you analyze, is that, again, if you are for that question, it means you're going to look for an affirmative answer. So, for example, yes, parents should be allowed to microchip their children. Okay, and please, here you have to be flexible, because I imagine that you have a position, right? All of us have a position. And if I ask you, perhaps the four of you are going to be for or against. It can happen. Okay, but so that we can have the interaction, it's important that a couple of you have to pretend to be against it, even though you are not. Okay, so that's going to be the idea. Two of you are going to be for that idea, and two of you are going to be against that idea. All right, and again, it's going to be randomly. And if you really don't like that idea, again, just try to pretend just to practice. The main idea here is practicing. All right, and the last part is going to be for you. Micaela, please, I would like you to read this one, Micaela.
Okay, time per topic, 10 minutes to do some research and organize your group defense, 5 to 10 minutes to debate, general feedback. Join the links. The instructor will join the meeting to listen to your ideas and how you organize yourself. English only must be spoken in the private meetings. The instructor will not help with any words or expression. The group has to work by itself. The instructor will only be an auditor. He will not participate actively in the private meeting. He will only observe and listen to your interaction.
Great. Thank you, Micaela. Let's repeat only this word. Please remember the A and U together are O. So this is going to be auditor. Let's repeat that one, please.
Auditor.
Auditor, exactly. Just like one O. Good. Thank you, Micaela. Now, you know what to do. Now, let's divide the groups. Again, this is going to be randomly because I'm going to use this roulette. And this is going to be the first group. So the first group is going to be 4. And here you have a link, okay? I'm going to send the link to the chat just in case. But remember, I'm not going to say anything. I'm going to be joining the groups, but I'm not going to say anything. You have to organize, all right, yourselves. Also, the words, I'm not going to help with meanings. I'm not going to help with anything, okay? You're going to be there by yourselves. And you have to do some research. You have to see what you're going to do on the debate. Okay, everything is going to be just the two of you. But I'm going to be there again to listen. And it's important, as it says here, girls, that you can organize yourselves in English. Okay, so you say, I'm going to start, you go next. I'm going to say this idea, it's interesting. What you have, right? I found this and that. Okay, let's use that. And you organize yourselves in 10 minutes. You do very quick research. You organize something, at least you have an idea of what you're going to do. And then you should be ready to have a short debate for 5 to 10 minutes. And then I give you my general feedback. Okay, I don't know if you have any questions before we can start with the division of the groups, and then I give you the time to prepare.
Yeah, teacher, just for the topic, which topic we're going to choose, or it's...
Yes, we're going to divide the groups, and then I'm also going to ask for the questions, and you're going to raise your hands. All right, the one that gets the most votes, that's going to be the question or the topic we're going to talk about. Okay, good.
All right,
so
thank you.
Very good, you're welcome. So the first group is going to be 4, and again, so that it's going to be clear, we're going to edit this, and I'm going to write down the names. So the first group is going to be this. Okay, so you are in the first group, Karen. That's you. I'm going to eliminate. So Karen, and let's see who's going to be your partner. Okay, immediately the other 2, right, are in the group. Okay, Lucia, you. So you both, please, you are going to work together. Your group 1, it means you're going to be for the topic that we're going to choose now. And in group 2, then it's going to be you, Nazarena and Micaela. All right? So now we have the groups. Now we're going to go for the, first, let me say this, for the topic or the specific question. So please, you're going to raise your hands. Okay, you're going to raise your hands. And again, the one that at least gets 2 votes and it's only 1 for the other ones, it's going to be that one. Okay, so please raise your hand if you want to talk about the first question. Should there be a restriction on how many children a family can have? Raise your hands, please. All right, good, thank you. Now, the second, should medical marijuana be legalized? Raise your hands for that one, please. Okay, thank you. You have 2 so far. Yes, one more? No, it will. Okay, we have 2 so far for this one. This is winning. What about this one? Should schools replace teachers with AI technology? Raise your hands, please. And the last one, should parents be allowed? Okay, one over there. And the last one, should parents be allowed to microchip their children? Good. Okay, you have 2 over there also, I think. So let's only vote, please, now, all of you, for these 2 questions. These are the 2 that have 2 votes. Should medical marijuana be legalized? And should parents be allowed to microchip their children? Okay, so just those 2. And please, you're only going to vote once now. Okay, vote only once. You have to choose between this one, the marijuana be legalized, and this one, microchip their children. Okay, so for the first one, please, one more time. Should medical marijuana be legalized? Raise your hands, please. Okay, so I think we're going to be divided on that one. So we're going to, no, you have 3. Okay, so this is going to be the one. Okay, 3 already. It means this is only going to be 1. This is the topic. Should medical marijuana be legalized? So now you are going to go to the specific rooms that I have for you. You're going to give me 1 minute because I'm also going to join the rooms over there. That's group number 1. It's in the chat, plus the link. And this is group number 2. All right, so I am going to turn off my microphone. I'm going to turn off my camera. Please, you have to go to this. If you want, you can leave the meeting here. All right, if you feel that the microphone is going to be on, you can leave the meeting here on Zoom, but please go to the meeting on Meets, and you're going to be there for 10 minutes. I'm going to tell you when you have to go back to this meeting. Okay, do you have any questions before going there? Let me know, please, girls. No? Okay, let's do it, please. Go to your rooms. I'm going to accept you there in a moment, and let's start working. I'm going to give you the last instructions over there. See you there, please, girls. All right, so very good, girls. Now let's work here. We're going to try to use, again, it says from 5 to 10 minutes. At least try to get to 9:30 so that we can finish this debate. Perhaps we're going to continue. We're going to have a second part for the debate, and I'm going to give you all the time until next Friday so you can look for perhaps better arguments if you are not able to get some interesting ones well, because of the time. But I want to know if you're there and if you're ready. Karen, are you there? Can you hear me? Are you able to work now?
Hi, teacher. Yes, yeah.
Good, very good. I see you there, Lucia. What about you, Nazarena, Micaela? Are you there? Are you ready to start with the debate?
Yes, teacher.
Good.
Yes, teacher.
Okay, great. Very good. So you're all there. Again, remember, this is practicing. The idea here is more than winning, all right? Again, the idea is practicing. The idea is using the words that you were able to, well, learn or that you found because of the research, or at least try to organize your ideas in an interesting way to show what you know about this topic, okay? And again, we're going to see how it goes, and depending on that, we're going to see if we're going to continue with this debate or a different one on Friday. But let's start, please. As again, the idea of the program is to prepare you, right, for the TOEFL practice. I need you to get used to the timer, okay? And you need to organize your ideas in a way that you pay attention to the timer. So what I'm going to do actually, the timer is going to be like this, big. I'm going to give you, first of all, only 1 minute, okay, per person, so that you can give me like a very interesting idea to support your group. Okay, so it means, Lucia, I'm going to give you 1 minute. Karen, I'm going to give you 1 minute. Okay, you're going to start, you both. And then I'm going to do the same with Nazarena and Micaela. Okay, and you can take notes. Again, it's going to be short, but take notes because you're going to try to respond to what the other person is saying. At first, Nazarena and Micaela, you can say only negative things about marijuana. You don't need to respond directly. But after the 1 minute per person, I'm going to give more time so that one member of the group or the two can participate one more time to show me why the other group is not correct, okay? Or they are making mistakes, or just try to defend your position. Okay, so I'm going to start with you, please. Or actually, you decide, girls, Lucia or Karen. Who wants to start? 1 minute. Let me know, please.
Me, teacher.
Okay, good. So let's begin, please, Karen. Only 1 minute, okay? Pay attention to the timer. Try to summarize your idea in 1 minute. It can be one idea or two ideas, but remember that you're going to have a second opportunity to participate. Okay, so let's begin, please.
Okay. Okay. For our group, legalized marijuana. It's a good idea because first of all, marijuana is safer than some other medications, and it's natural, and well, it has been used for centuries as natural medicine, and this product until now, it helps a lot of people with many diseases. Well, to continue, I would like to talk about that. This product has a lot of properties in the aspect of medical issues.
Until now, please, Karen, until that part. Thank you very much. Good. So, sorry, again, we're going to continue, and you're going
teacher, your microphone.
Yes, sorry. Yes, I'm going to give you more time to complement the idea later on. Okay, but now just to have the same time with everybody, the 1 minute. Okay, so I'm going to share again the timer. Give me 1 second. I'm going to share my screen one more time, but I also am going to be taking notes, and I don't want those notes to distract you. So I'm going to share the timer only. Give me please 2 seconds. Okay, there you go. So, and Here it is. Okay, good. Now, please, you can continue now, Lucia. Again, I'm going to give you the 1 minute. Let me stop that one. And you can start now, please.
Okay, thank you. As my colleague explained some of the main reasons, we want to focus this explanation with the doses for medical issues, and also with the specific therapeutic doses that are really necessary for that kind of therapy. At the beginning, we want to use the examples, the most common examples of countries like Canada, like Poland, or like Uruguay, and some states from the United States. That okay, when we use when we use marijuana just for medical issues, we have reasons, and scientific and science have special reasons like therapeutic problems, control quantity, and clinical response to according to some programs. And these are good use for AIDS and cancer according the time and doses.
Great, over there. Thank you very much, Lucia. Good, very good. You were using the time in a very good way. Thank you very much. Now I'm going to go with you, girls. Again, the idea is that now, Lucia and Karen, you can take some notes of what Nazarena and Micaela are going to say, so that you can go against their position, because you need to defend the idea that it's a good idea to legalize the marijuana as you were showing. Okay, so this time I'm going to decide because of the time. So let's start with you, please, Nazarena. Again, you have 1 minute. So let me know, please, if you're ready, Nazarena.
Okay, teacher. Yes, I'm ready.
Good. Let's begin, please.
Okay, I'm against first you can become dependent of marijuana. You can also have panic attacks if you don't get marijuana in a specific moment. I know that many people say that it's not dependent, but it's physically dependent. So you can have other issues if you don't have the marijuana near. And this is only for relieves the pain of medical issues. So you can also use other kind of pills. We are now in the future where we can replace the plants for something more prepared, like the pills, and you can take ibuprofen or something else to relieve the pain.
Good, until that part. Thank you, Nazarena. Great. 1 minute over there. So again, try to take notes, girls. And now I'm going with you, Micaela. Let's do the same, please. 1 minute. Are you ready? Let me know.
Okay, teacher.
Good.
I'm ready.
Let's start, please.
Okay. Sorry. Okay. Apart from being dangerous, due to the dependency that can generate, what is worrying is how easy it can be, or it can be to people to access to the marijuana, especially young people. All of the young people that want to try soft drugs can the marijuana can be like open doors to other drugs. In a country like Bolivia, it cannot
Until that part, please. Okay, good. Okay. Perfect. Thank you very much. Just because of the time, you're going to have one more time, all of you, all right? And Lucia, Karen, Nazarena, Micaela, you're going to have 1 more minute, please. I know we're going to use extra time, but with that, we are going to finish. Now what you're going to do is that you're going to try to explain why what the other group said is not important. And even though they are mentioning those negative consequences, you still have like the best position because you still believe that it's a good idea to use marijuana in a medical treatment, or it's a bad idea. Okay, so both groups, with Lucia and Karen, now you're going to have 1 minute each, one more time, to try to go against the ideas that they mentioned. And Nazarena, Micaela, you're going to have also 1 minute to try to say why it's still not a good idea, even though they are defending theirs. Okay, so let's start, please, one more time. Now we're going to start with you, please, Lucia. Again, you can try to focus on the things that they mentioned to be negative for marijuana, or you can add something extra that you couldn't do it because of the time. Okay, so let's do it, please.
Sorry,
Yes,
Professor, it's just 1 minute also, right?
1 minute, oh, only 1 minute, please.
All right.
Good, let's do it, please.
Okay, replying the points that the other group mentioned, we want to clarify something. Yeah, you said about that you can become dependent, but if we want to use for medical issues, remember that we need a prescription, we need a specific treatment, we need a specific time, and with a specific experience from a doctor or a professional. According to panic attacks and the physically dependent, according to policy, public policies used in Canada, for example, they were against that panic attacks and physically if the doses are really controlled. And there are two mechanisms important that the people that are going to use are less than 6 months, and during these 6 months are controlled by medicals and for psychiatric specialists. Yeah, and according to pills and ibuprofens, we have another options, but remember that this is a natural alternative for us.
Sorry, thank you very much. Good, 5 extra seconds, but we have the idea over there. It was very well. Okay, you got to summarize very interesting ideas to counterpart what they said. Okay, very well done. Thank you, Lucia. The same for you, please, Karen. One more time, 1 minute. You can add ideas to what Lucia said, or you can one more time add more positive ideas for using marijuana that you couldn't mention because of the time. Okay, so let's start, please, Karen.
Okay, as I was saying before, marijuana is safer than some other medications because it is a natural option. So, as my partner said, if we control these medication, we can have a lot of benefits of this medication. So this one reason that it's important, and the second is that it's comprobated. Marijuana helps a lot of people and with many diseases.
Thank you very much. Good. There you go. So that's it on your side. I think it's great. Again, I'm going to try to make like a summary of what you did. Actually, not a summary. I'm going to mention just phrases so that now your partners can answer. And with that, again, we're going to be done. So you were talking about traditional usage, that it's been used for many years, that it's good for many diseases. It can be related to help people with AIDS, with cancer. You were talking about prescriptions, right? And specialists or professionals that are going to help you know the correct doses, right? To avoid addiction, to avoid the negative consequences. You were talking about public policies, controlled, right? Usage of marijuana, plus a specific time that you can use this medication only, right? That it's better because it's natural, that the control is important to avoid the negative side effects, and that it's already been proved, right, that it works. All right, so that's on your side, and I think that's great. Now I'm going to go to finish, please, with you, and I'm going to start with you, Micaela. Again, you're going to have one more time, 1 minute, and once again, what you can do, you can finish the idea that you couldn't because of the time. Michael, and again, sorry if I interrupted you, to all of you, okay, just to play with the time, or you can try to reply back and to try to say that they are not right because of this or that. Okay, so 1 minute, Michaela, please. Let's start with you this time.
Oh, okay. The girls mentioned that the marijuana could be a good alternative for health, but the question is, how can we be sure of the control of the situation? Because well, the people can falsify the documents, a certificate, a medical certificate, for example, um, and we don't have proof that it will be true because it's Spain. I think in Bolivia, especially, the public system is not enough for a situation like this.
Perfect. There you go. Great, great. I think it was really interesting. And yes, if we talk about context, I think talking about Bolivia it can be really interesting. So thank you, Micaela. Nazarena, the same for you. Try to add, please, you can add new ideas, you can complement your partner's ideas, or you can simply mention more good advantages or positive sides of, well, preventing or avoiding the usage of marijuana. So let's do it, please, Nazarena. 1 minute with you.
Okay, teacher. Well, even if the marijuana is legalized, we need a recipe or a prescription because it's important that you can buy the marijuana if a doctor tell you that you really need. Because what happens if you don't have that permission or that prescription or recipe? Everybody could buy the marijuana, and that is something that we don't want. That, for example, our children buy the marijuana for a recreational moment, and it's important thing that we don't want to arrive. So can be also a natural thing, but we have to think more than only that.
Okay, okay. Thank you, Nazarena. Good. Now, let me give you the last feedback. All right. And I'm going to work on a short summary again for what you did, Nazarena, Micaela. So you were talking about like consequences, right? Like side effects, for example, panic attacks, dependency, right? You were talking about the easy access to marijuana because in a certain way, right, if it's legalized, of course you need prescriptions, but in a certain way also, it's going to be kind of easier to get it if you work with, for example, faking documents, as you said, Micaela. So it's an open door to experiment with something and perhaps that are going to make you want to try other drugs, as you were saying. It's not a good alternative. We cannot be sure about the control, and that's interesting, right? It's not the same, the control that you have in Canada, for example, or in the United States, that the one that you can have in Bolivia. And you were right here. You cannot avoid having fake documents, right? These medical certificates that are not always going to be, right, the ones that are official or that are the ones that are made by professionals, or even they are made by professionals, but they were paid to have that one. And unfortunately, it happens a lot in countries like this, right? And you were mentioning that one, the public system, and then you were reinforcing some ideas yourself, right? And Sarina, the idea of prescriptions, because you don't want, right, the access to all the people, and that it's natural, but perhaps there are some negative consequences related to that. Okay, so just to finish, again, we're going to try to continue this, but I believe that you all were able to, again, it's hard to defend some of these topics because of the research that has been done so far. I believe that because of the elements that you were able to show, all right, perhaps the group that was for was able to present more complete ideas and showing interesting things, as well as the group that is against. But I believe that the group that is for against showed more ideas and more elements to defend that position. All right, but even though I think it was great, this is what I was able to write again in terms of what you were able to see. Just be careful with two things in general. It's be careful when you say I agree, right? Remember that you don't say agree with the verb to be, right? Don't say I am agree, just I agree or I disagree or I don't agree. Don't forget that if you have disease, the plural of disease is diseases, right? So many diseases, not only many disease. All right, and try to use the right conjugation. In general, I believe that you were doing a great job. So that's the only feedback I'm going to give you now. I'm going to tell you something else, but that's going to be the next class and in the next debate. I want to know if you have any questions. Again, the idea here is that you get used to using a timer if you're going to take the TOEFL, because you need to pay attention to the timer. And now I gave you like some extra seconds, right? But for example, in those tests, it's 45 seconds and 45 seconds, and the recording stops automatically. If you don't finish, it means that you don't know how to use the time. It means that they are going to evaluate your performance negatively because you didn't organize your ideas for the 45 seconds, all right? And here, it's not because of that, right? Perhaps it's the first time you're working with time, but I think you did it greatly, okay? Just we're going to get used to working with a timer so that you feel ready for an international test, and also to try to organize your ideas rapidly, because if you realize that's what you have to do. It's hard to think of ideas, or it's hard to defend something that perhaps you don't agree with, but if you get to do it, it means that you are managing English better and better. Okay, so that's it. I want to know if you have any questions before finishing with this practice, girls. Let me know, please, if you do.
No,
No,
teacher.
Okay, great. I know that you used a lot of extra time with me, so thanks for your patience, for being here with me, working with this activity. I hope this can be useful for you. That's the idea. I'm sharing the survey. You should be able to see it now. Answer those questions, please. And again, that's it. Don't forget about, please, the assignments, about the quiz that is going to be until Sunday. And on Monday, we're going to start the next unit. One more time, thank you. Have a good night. Enjoy your weekend and see you on Monday.
I'm sorry, Professor, but I have a request. I don't know if it's possible. If there any
Yes.
possibility to extend the time at least 1 hour or 30 minutes for the assignment presentation? Or for today?
Yes, for the assignments, yes, of course. There's no problem. Actually, I can always give you more time. I prefer to keep the Friday thing, but actually I'm going to extend it directly until tomorrow morning. Okay, actually tomorrow noon. All right, so you can use more time. So tomorrow noon, 12 p.m. would be, that's going to be it. All right.
Teacher,
Okay.
sorry, one question. These activities that you are talking is in person?
Yes, everything is on Pearson, Nazarena. That's what we assigned on Monday.
Teacher, sorry, maybe I didn't be in the class in the moment that you shared the number of the class, but I was in person, but I didn't see your course.
Yeah, no, this is a new one, Nazarena. You have to join. Then I'm going to do it now then with you. Girls, if that's it with you, you can leave the class, all right? Now with you, Nazarena, I'm going to join the course with you, all right?
Okay, teacher, please.
Good.
I don't know because I can see, but
Thank you. Bye. Have a good day.
Bye-bye. Bye, girls. Good night.
Thank you, teacher, for the time, for the assignments.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
No,
girls.
you're
Bye.
welcome. Have a good night. Bye-bye. Okay, so it's here. I'm going to show you. You have to go to Pearson as always. So go now, please, to Pearson, Nazarena.
okay, yeah,
The same webpage.
I'm here.
Good. Now, every time, for example, it can happen. You need to go to courses presentation. I'm going to do it with you. But if you go to courses presentation, you have all the information that you need over there.
I was looking for, but I didn't see. Maybe I was in the wrong place.
Perhaps, yes, because here, if you go, you
Yes.
see one that is Pearson,
Yes, Pearson. Okay.
right?
Yeah.
And here it is. So let's do it now, please.
So
And you're going to tell me if you received the assignments. The ID is in the.
so I put on. um,
What you have to do, I'm going to go with you to Pearson.
Okay.
You have to go to settings. You have to select join a new course.
Teacher, sorry. What is the ID?
The ID is in the
Oh,
chat
okay.
now, Nazarena. It's
Okay.
VFUH-R9WJ. It's the same product, it's just a different course.
Perfect. Now I'm here. I think assignments.
Good.
41. Okay, perfect.
You have it, right?
Yes.
Great. So this is what I'm going to do actually in Nazarena. It happens. You know, I know that this happens. So I'm going to extend the time until tomorrow midnight, actually. Okay, so you have tonight and you have tomorrow the whole day until 11:59 p.m. to finish this. All right?
Thank you so much, teacher.
No, you're welcome. Also, the quiz is already there and you can take the quiz until Sunday, 11:59 p.m. Okay, so the assignments tomorrow 11 and the quiz is Sunday, 11:59.
Okay, perfect, teacher. Thank you so much. Good night.
You're welcome. Bye-bye. Good night.